All right, everybody. Hi, and welcome to the official Body Spartan podcast. My name is Gabe Tuft. I am the founder of Body Spartan. Tonight, I am joined by the wonderful, the incredible, the one, the only, the fabulous, the magnificent
First Lady of Body Spartan, Priscilla Tuft.
Man, I wasn't even done. I was just on a roll, and you're like, screw that. We're getting to it.
I know when you do a good lead in.
Yeah, you
jump in.
I like
there.
that. Just ditch the foreplay, go straight to it.
I was feeling it.
Well, what's up, everybody? This is my official Welcome Back podcast. Many of you already know. Many of you may not know, but literally 25 days ago, I underwent open heart surgery.
Oh my gosh, was it 25 days ago? It
Exactly.
feels like yesterday.
Exactly. Well, the thumping in my chest, which is my heart, the graft they put in my ascending aorta. We'll tell this in a minute, but I can still feel the thumping in my chest right now. It's because it doesn't have the elasticity of the old aorta, and it's like thump, 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 thump.
So literally a week before we went in for this surgery, his cardiologist said, there's a reason you don't feel your heartbeat every single second. It would drive you nuts. Could you imagine feeling every single beat of your heart? I mean, yay, I'm so grateful I have a heartbeat, but could you imagine feeling every beat? Well, now Gabe does. And so he's like, he texts me today. He's like, I don't know how long you can actually like live like this. I'm wondering how long I can live like this.
That's exactly how I was feeling too. But we'll get into that in a minute, because that's basically what we're going to talk about. There's been so many questions about it, but we got to do the usual stuff and things that we always do before we dive into that. We're going to call this episode, I don't know, we're going to call it Cracked, or we're going to call it The Comeback, or I don't know, something. We'll figure out.
Cute.
Cracked. Or The Comeback. Get it? Because I got my chest cracked up. I don't know what we're going to call it. But
that's pretty funny.
There's just so many questions, and there's been so many revelations that I've had since the surgery, since before the surgery, and then directly after. Huge revelations that are in line with what Priscilla and I founded Body Spartan on, and some of our earlier podcasts that just it needs to be revisited. Absolutely 100% needs to be revisited. But in the interim, tell us what's new in the week, aside from, my stuff. What's new with you?
I experienced a beautiful comeback of my own. Going through all of this, there have been so many emotions that I didn't really realize were going on. And so I had this just epiphany that I wanted to eat raw foods this week. And it has just been it has increased my vitality and my energy and my gumption and my weight loss and just all of it. I have felt so good just eating raw foods, going back to nature, grounding myself a bunch and thanking God that you are alive. It's been good. So that's kind of been a beautiful consumption of this week.
So listening to your body, like really listening to, I don't feel like I need, let's preface this with, you've now been vegetarian for over a year now, right?
It's close to 2 years, actually.
Has it been that long?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so, vegetarian and vegan, two totally different things. Priscilla still eats byproducts of animals. You call them eggs.
Rarely.
Cheese?
I had an egg probably about a month ago, and I've been trying to be really present when I eat food. And I'll sit there and I'll chew it and I'll say, is this something I'm really enjoying? Am I enjoying eating this? It felt really rubbery to me. And I realized, well, no, I thought that I was supposed to eat it, so I was eating it. And then I realized I'm going to eat less of that because I just don't feel like eating that right now.
Well, Ed, the funny part about this, I know we want to get back to you just listening to your body and understanding that your body's saying, I need to eat more raw foods, like raw vegetables, raw greens, that sort of stuff.
It's what feels the best right now.
But the funny part about this is that I had gone totally vegetarian for, what was it, 6-7 months? 8 months?
I think even 8. So November to 2 weeks ago.
Yep. Yeah. And my purpose was to lower my blood pressure because I had this, oh gosh darn it, we're just going to segue into it. What I had was an aortic aneurysm. So the ascending aorta, the big pipe, the biggest artery that comes out of the top part of your heart, it had an aneurysm, which basically means it was growing like a balloon. And so think about it this way. If you were to inflate a balloon, eventually if it gets too big, what happens? It pops. And so that's the case. My mom had open heart surgery exactly a year ago today. which is kind of cool. She came over today and we took a picture together celebrating her 1-year anniversary and my 25
so
day.
Adorable. Check out his IG, and his mama is so beautiful. I love that picture. I called her. I was like, you look so cute.
Well, we thought it would be funny because I've been instructed, no motorcycles for 3 months. I can't get back on the bike until October 8th, specifically because the sternum takes 3 months to heal. They had to literally put a bone saw down the center of my sternum to get the heart. It is different than every other bone in the body in that it forms and connects when you are young, but if you break it, it takes 3 months to heal because there's so many major muscles pulling on it. Anyway, we thought it would be funny because we had the exact same surgical team at Stanford. I was washing the bike. I couldn't ride it, so I carefully rolled it out, and I just got done washing it. She came over with my dad. We thought it'd be funny for her to swing a leg over it and me stand next to her and just send a pic to the surgical team and kind of scare the pants out of them. Give them a mild heart attack, pun intended.
Exactly.
So it basically what Stanford determined is that this is genetic. It's not anything that I did wrong, or it's not anything to do with lifting weights. The thing they don't know is why it accelerated so fast. There's some theories. A lot of it could be due to trauma. That they said one of the first things they asked my mom when she was diagnosed with it was, have you had any trauma? Have you been in any car accidents? And so I was in WWE for, 4 years?
I think 6.
Was that long?
You were on TV for 4 years.
Wrestling for 6. So think about it this way. Every time we hit the mat on our back, it's called taking a bump. And it's the equivalent of being in like a 35 or 45 mile an hour car crash. And we would do, in practice, we probably take 50, 60 bumps a day. On TV, we do 10 or 12 a night. So that's one of the theories that what could have accelerated it. It could have been lifting weights with like really high blood pressure because I'm holding my breath and straining so much. Not saying that you guys are going to have this. This is a predisposed genetic condition that I had. It's not uncommon. But if you have a healthy heart, it's not something that's going to happen to you. So that's something I had to be careful for. So they found it on accident. Actually, they spotted it in WWE when I saw Dr. Black, right? Remember he had the echo?
They spotted some things that rose awareness.
Well, he saw it was dilated is what he saw. He saw basically the normal aorta is about 34 to 36 millimeters across, like the cross section. And mine was like, 44, 46, something like that?
Yeah.
And it didn't raise an alarm because usually these things take, decades to develop. So they didn't really mention it to me. Like, yeah, no big deal. You're fine. And when I went into AFib 2 years ago, I'd taken too much pre-workout. I took a bunch of DeGat Nitroflex. And I went into AFib. I knew something was wrong, went in the hospital. They did a bunch of scans and boom, they're like, well, look at this. You got this thing. And they kind of compared it. And they're like, well, it's grown a little bit, but not so much. Next thing we know, I started getting real anxious. And so how long was I freaking out for?
A year.
At least a year, right?
Yeah, it was a solid year, but you continue to show signs of what I would call post-traumatic stress syndrome because of how traumatic the first event was. We thought
AFib.
We thought you were dying.
Yeah.
And I felt it too. Those of you that follow us consistently know that I see and feel energy, and I felt him begin to leave his physical body, and that was a bit concerning.
Yeah, it was scary.
Why are you lifting out of your body?
Like your soul should be one right now, and you're floating away.
Yeah, this looks bad.
But we found it, and they go, okay, well, you have this thing. And my cardiologist basically said, look, man, it's not going to develop. You could go away, come back in 20 years. It's going to be the exact same. So stop freaking out. I'm like, okay. And as time went on, I kept, you don't really listen to your heart until something goes on with it and it's not working right. And so every day I was listening and I was anxious and I was worried. And then I'm like,
and remembering that trip to the ER, remembering the fear.
And so I'd be in the gym and I'd feel like weird heart palpitations, like, oh shit, am I going to AFib? Did this aneurysm? Is it starting to burst? And so
some of it was real, some of it was imagined.
Yeah, and it was hard to differentiate. And I basically had this thought pattern that I created that created a giant pattern of anxiety and panic attacks. And like Priscilla said, some real, some not so real. It was in my head. And remember, we always talk about the mind being the most powerful tool that you have in your arsenal, especially when it comes to working out with fitness. I mean, we've started this company based on your mind is the most powerful tool. Like, you can literally will your muscles to grow. We've been saying this since podcast, number 1, if I remember correctly. We used it when we went down to CCT Fletcher. We worked out with him. We've implanted that in every one of our programs. But my mind ran rampant. Like, how many nights were you there with me when I was like laying on the floor, freaking out, thinking I was having a heart attack, and my pulse is racing, and my blood pressure's through the roof, and
far more than I could count on my fingers or my toes. All the medical visits, the 911 calls, the ambulance rides. It was a wild ride. And he spent the following year recovering from that with what I would call, and I don't like to label things all that garbage, but it was definitely PTSD. Intense.
I'm not ashamed. I'll say it. Yeah.
Intense fear of your heart just stopping or malfunctioning in some sort of way that would end your life.
I think that one of the biggest things is that, yeah, it took me a year to get over it. It took me, but there were still these things that were happening. Like, I get these weird heart palpitations, or I get super anxious.
They didn't own you as much because you were taking it out on the bike. You were doing whatever you could to quiet the voices in your head telling you that something didn't feel right.
Okay, yes. And I want to touch on that too, because it's really important for everybody listening that, you know me, guys. You know that, like, if I had my choice, I'd go out in a blaze of glory. Like, if there was a modern day gladiator, I would choose to be it. Put me in the arena and I'll go down swinging. Like, that's my style. You're looking at my legs because they're crossed like an old man. I know.
No, I'm looking at your legs because they're crossed and it elevates your blood pressure.
I can't get comfy in this chair.
I know. I'm like trying not to say anything.
There,
it's not
that?
even.
Is that better?
How does your blood pressure feel?
I feel great. I feel totally fine. I feel invincible as I fall out of the chair.
Do you? Do you really?
Actually, today's the best day since the surgery. Like, I feel phenomenal. And I think a lot of it had to do with the call, which we'll talk about later.
You know what, you guys, I just want to say we didn't really talk about what we're about to talk about. And we're giving you a candid real life experience of what really happened behind the scenes as we faced a life or death situation with Gabe's heart. And so we're going to be very candid. We're going to be very open. We're going to talk straight to you guys just like we always do. Yeah. That's what this podcast is about.
I want to be honest and say we hid a lot of this from you guys because I didn't want you to see, and I didn't show the public a lot of this. We knew that something was going on with my heart, but I never wanted the public to see me in this state where I was not in control, because I preach so much about being in control. And this is me being completely transparent, us being completely transparent with you. So, dude, as much as in the videos when I was like 280 pounds, 260, and I'm just sitting there yelling at people like, go, 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 go. And you guys look up to me, dude, I'm human. Things happen. I have my faults, and I fell short in a lot of areas. And when I say I fell short, I feel like I wasn't able to be the leader that I needed to be because I was falling apart mentally. Is really what was going on. But back to what I was saying, if I had my choice, I would go out in a blaze of glory. Like, that's why I would ride the bike. That's why I race. I crave the adrenaline. If I'm going to go down, if I'm going out, man, it's turn 1 at Thunder Hill at 160 plus miles an hour. And I'm just like, I went out the way I wanted to. Like, that's how it is. But it wasn't that way. Like, I had this deep ache and throb in the middle of my chest that would make me really uncomfortable. It felt like I wanted to claw my chest out, and I kept telling myself, no, it's anxiety. My cardiologist has looked at this. The EKGs always come back fine. Like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Then, one day in April, it was before your birthday, I had one of these, what I would call panic attacks, but I could not get it under control. I was home alone, and I started to feel like a chest palpitation, a heart palpitation. And it kind of made me nervous. It wasn't a hard time breathing. It's like you can't just miss a breath for a second, like, and then you go, okay. And then you get nervous. The heart rate starts racing, and I can't get it to calm down. And then
Are you talking about this year?
Yeah, this was right before we went and I saw Fishbein. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to go see him. And I couldn't get it to slow down. I couldn't get it to calm down. I couldn't get it to stop. called my cardiologist here in my area, and I said, look, I'm about to go into the ER because I can't figure out what's going on. It's been 20 minutes. I can't get it to calm down. He's like, come on in. We go in to see the cardiologist, and he checks me out, and he's like, yeah, you're fine. You're totally fine. Your EKG is normal. He goes, look, I want you to look at your scans. And he shows me the scans from when they put this big tube down my throat. And here's the kicker. He had told me when we did this thing where I went into the hospital and they put a tube down my throat, and they looked at the aneurysm. They said, hey, look, it's this big. They said it was like 46 to 48 millimeters. When he shows me it this time, he goes, oh, yeah, look, here's your scans from when we did this thing. It's like 48 to 51 millimeters. And I'm like, whoa. That's a big difference, dude, because 54 millimeters is the cutoff for when they start doing surgery. So I'm 3 millimeters away from needing surgery. And I looked at him, I'm like, that's not what you told me. And he's just kind of like, no, this is what it is. You're fine. Go away for 20 years and come back. And so that's when I told Priscilla, forget this. I'm going into Stanford where my mom had her surgery done. I want to see her surgeon. His name's Michael Fishbein, probably the best surgeon in the States for this very specific surgery. And I went in there and we did all the scans. We did everything. I mean, the staff was amazing. And they kind of confirmed. They're like, well, we measured it. And you are at 52. It was 52 millimeters, right? Mm-hmm. So, and they said that, it's not time yet, but
you can do it now, or you can do it, relatively soon, like maybe think about doing it in the next 10 years, something like that.
Right.
Like really, keep this on your agenda, probably better sooner than later, but you're okay. Yeah.
But they said no lifting weights and no motorcycle racing.
Well, since November, you haven't been able to lift weights.
Right.
But then they took away motorcycle racing.
Yeah. Because the blood pressure, every millimeter counts. And so they recognized the adrenaline rush when I was racing. They recognized the blood pressure. And that was the big thing, like the big spikes in blood pressure. It's like when you blow up a balloon real fast, it just goes boom. And by the way, this is the thing where, like, when you hear about sudden cardiac death, this is like you bleed out in 3 minutes. Like, if you don't get to the hospital in like 3 minutes, you're done. And so he goes, you can do it now. You can do it later.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, and he's like, you can do it later. It basically is like, but this is going to be your life. You can go for brisk walks.
So we're thinking, okay, let's start, really considering having surgery maybe December. You're off season. Yep. You finish riding a little bit more maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and this is before he told me I couldn't do any track, actually.
Yeah, and still no lifting.
Still, yeah, lifting easy, go ride your motorcycles, whatever. A week later, I get a phone call. And it's my surgeon, Dr. Fishbein. And he says, hey, Gabe, how are you? It's Dr. Fishbein. I'm like, hey, Doc, what's up, man? And he goes, so, hey, look, I was reviewing your file, and I had the guys, the techs, remeasure everything, just to double check.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm watching Gabe kind of like walk through the house and talk on the phone.
Did you know I was talking to Fish?
I knew that you were talking to him, but I didn't understand why your face went white and why your knees started to shake and get weak. And I heard you say, oh, wow, this is really unexpected. I wasn't prepared for this. And then the news came.
Yeah. Basically what he told me is that they had remeasured it and they found that it was at 54.5 millimeters dilated. And 54 is when they start saying, hey, it's time to elect. Either you can choose to do it, but at 56, which is where my mom was, is like, you get in right now and you do it. And so it's like, you have to be super careful. He's like, you can elect to do it now, or we could wait and do it in December, but this is it, dude. No track, no nothing, no motorcycle rides. Like, you can go on brisk walks. And
sit there, suck your thumb, don't sneeze.
It's basically like, at that point, if I didn't think it was a ticking time bomb before, I thought I was. It was like
confirmed ticking time bomb.
And so for those people that are looking at me going like, Gabe, you were huge. What happened? And they're like, oh, you got off all the steroids. I'm like, no, I was told I couldn't lift. And so imagine trying to go vegetarian where you're changing your protein sources and trying to find ways to keep muscle mass that don't involve lifting weights. It's like, it's just
and
not
then on
possible.
Top of that, the amount of food that he was eating to maintain his size, when he continued to eat that, then guess what? Body fat. When you're not lifting, so he had to eat less. And so he was feeling skinny fat.
Yep.
Plus, he's trying to figure out how to balance his hormones, eating soy and vegetarian, vegan sources of protein.
Yep. All these things. And basically, the high and the low of it is that I said, all right, dude, when's your next available date? And he goes, July 8th. This is April. So I got April, May, June. I had 3 months of like sitting back, not allowed to lift anything more than 10 pounds, going on brisk walks. And so that's when you guys saw me like really shriveling up. And when I say shriveling up, just like losing muscle mass.
So they're like, just don't move.
Yeah, it's just imagine. I want you guys to really
if you
picture
could just
that.
sit there and not move, that'd be great.
And I think this is, one of the things the good things that have come out of this is that I have to rebuild. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it really put me in a very humble position. I kind of view myself as a humble guy to begin with, but this was so humbling because I had to get on social media and run this company and do Facebook Lives. And I remember I would log on to Facebook Live and just as soon as people logged on, like, dude, what happened? What happened, bro? Are you okay? Are you sick? Like, even Howie goes, Gabe, you look like you got cancer. Just like, Howie, thanks, buddy. Thanks so much. So we're going to talk about the surgery in a second, which is the eye opener. This is the big epiphany, guys.
It's so funny. I do want to touch on that. It's so interesting because so many trolls had stuff to say about your physical appearance, and sometimes you just don't know what's really going on with someone. It's like any cruel word could be said, but what's really going on beneath the surface? Sometimes you just don't know because for months and months and months, we hid this from the public because we didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, it was a matter of, there's always a chance too. I mean,
oh yeah,
there's the chance that because we'll get to this in a minute, but they did have to stop my heart to do this surgery this was an 8-hour surgery. I think they're 10, something like that.
Well, it went on consistently from 6 a.m. in the morning with all the preparatory work until 5 at night.
Yeah, so it was 12.
So the actual period of time that they were doing the surgery, it
was like 8 hours.
Negligible.
Yeah.
But
So I want to get to surgery in a second, and I want to talk to you guys about that. And I want to talk to you about this giant epiphany that I had and this major shift in my life afterwards that is going to change your life.
And so many people are asking about this inside stuff. And so our hearts are wide open because we learned a lot. So guess what? You get to learn a lot too.
But of course, what I need to do really quickly is tell you guys what's going on with Body Spartan, and then we'll segue back. We are right smack dab in the middle of finalizing Rev 2, which is Revolution 2. Priscilla created the first Revolution, and then Christina Williams, our IFBB Pro, is working on Rev 2, which is basically the sequel. It is Body Spartan's first in-home program. It's like nothing we've ever done before, and it's a monster of a program. It's taken us longer because of the surgery. We had planned to have it out last month, but obviously been set back for specific reasons. And we're taking our time, guys. We want this to be the best program we've put out yet. On top of that, the Big Arm Bible is coming out, or the Big Arm Bible 2 is coming out immediately after. That's Danny Broadhurst, our NPC nationally qualified competitor. You guys seen Danny. He's a monster. And there's some really cool things. I don't want to give away what's going on in the Big Arm Bible 2, but I will tell you it is the antithesis of the original Big Arm Bible. And there's all sorts of new tricks that Danny has. If you've seen his arms, they're massive, and he's passing this on to you guys. We filmed the in-gym portion. We literally have to have Danny do voiceovers, a preseason video, and get that stuff programmed. So you know what's funny is I'm actually contemplating pushing that out before Rev 2 just to get it out there so that everybody's got it, because Rev 2 is just such a monster. So I haven't decided that yet. Other thing, the app I thought was going to be done last month. We had to make some changes to it, and the developer said it would take another 30 days to make the changes I wanted because I want it perfect. That is what, it's got to be perfect. It's got to have all the features you guys want, especially the gym tracker, which is the most important part of the whole damn thing. So that's what's new with Body Spartan. By the way, if you're not a member and you don't have the All Access Pass, lay down what the All Access Pass is for them because they love your melodious voice.
Well, you know how you guys like everything?
All the things.
It's like a la carte. Just all the stuff. Like you want a cooking show? We got you. You want a little motivation? We got some motivation videos, like lots of them, like a library full of them. We've got weekly call history, like amazing Zoom calls.
2 years of weekly calls we did with the Spartan Army.
Incredible stuff that you will not find anywhere else. Plus,
Weekly fit tips.
weekly fit tips.
Weekly standalone workouts.
And access to every program ever created.
Like
All of
every
them.
program.
All of them,
And-
including
Yes, please do.
Six Pack Mastery, which all of you are freaking out about. I know. You're welcome.
Now, for those that haven't downloaded the Pack Mastery, what is it?
Something that you need to download immediately because it's awesome. It's basically the ab Bible. I mean, if you want to know how to jack your six pack quickly with unconventional tips that have never been shared outside of the competitive world, this is an audiobook that you're absolutely going to need to listen to on the way to work and the way back from work.
That's the beauty of it. It's the first
It is
audiobook
very fun.
we've put out too.
It's actually the only one.
It's the only audiobook that we have.
Audiobook of America.
And the great thing about this is that it uses what we call zero time. So you can listen to this while you are doing laundry, while you're driving to work, while you're making your breakfast. You can plug in your earbuds, doing your cardio. I mean, this is something that you can listen to at what we call zero time. It's like stuff that you would just usually be doing. Just plug in your earbuds and listen and learn, because Priscilla is a wealth of fucking knowledge. And this audiobook, when you sign up for the All Access Pass, you get a 14-day free trial, full unrestricted access. And you go down to the download section. There are 3 downloads there, guys. 3 things you literally have the opportunity to get and keep for free, even if you don't carry on with the All Access Pass. You get the Six Pack Mastery audiobook. You get the Ignite 28-day reboot program, the Super Shred program, and you get the Big Arm fucking Bible.
Oh my gosh. We don't have the secrets of weight loss in there?
Oh, I'm sorry. So you get 4 things.
Okay, because you guys, there is a weight loss book that I wrote about my 100-pound weight loss. And so that's in there too. You got to read that.
There's 4 downloads available, and we can't stop you from downloading that.
Because everyone's like, how did you lose 100 pounds and keep it off all these years? Like, what did you do? I'm going to tell you what I did. I did all the
you
things,
gave
and now
every
you
secret.
can read about it.
Now you can read about it, y'all.
And you know what? Would you like that in an audiobook too?
Ooh, is that an audiobook format?
I'm going to think about it.
Ooh, I like that.
I might think about it.
So the point is, there are 4 downloads available, major programs, ebooks that we can't just lock down. If you are a member, you have the 14-day trial of the All Access Pass. You can go grab these and you get to keep them forever. And I contemplated this. I said, you know what? That's a lot of value we're giving away. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars of value that's just available to take. And a lot of the staff goes, Gabe, do you want to lock this down somehow? I'm like, well, how would I lock it down? And 2, what if we just looked at it this way? The majority of people in the world, I truly believe, are good people, and they have good hearts and good intentions. Everybody likes free. I like free. You like free, right, P?
I do like free.
Yeah, especially when it's like chocolate ice cream. I like chocolate ice cream, especially when it's free.
Everybody likes chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, so like these downloads, it's like the chocolate ice cream of the fitness world. It's like the chocolate ice cream of your cheat day.
And Gabe's like being all like sweet about it. Yeah, go ahead and take our digital IP, which our blood, sweat, and tears. You can do that, but Jesus Christ will steal your underpants in the night. and maybe a few of your socks. Not both of them, but just one. Just enough to like make you feel incapacitated when you look for socks to go with your shoes. I'm just saying.
I thought those were gnomes.
Oh no, it's Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's Jesus. Hey, look, that's Jesus.
All of the things, yeah.
All the things. Well, what I'm getting at, guys, is that I basically told staff, I said, look,
have it.
Here's my thought on this. 99% of the people in the world are good people. And if we were to offer an amazing amount of value, and we just said, look, these 4 downloads, they're there. If you downloaded them all and canceled, I wouldn't cry about it. But I guarantee if you downloaded them all and you went through every single one of them, you would be craving more and you'd be coming back. You'd be like, dude, if that is the tip of the iceberg, and these are just, they're 28-day, 30-day programs. They're not our full 12-week programs, although they do have full nutrition in them. They're not calculated the same way we do in the dashboard, where they display in the dashboard. The formulas are there and it shows you how to do it. But it's still custom nutrition.
Do they get to
guys.
keep the trackers though?
No, you don't. Once the trial expires, you don't get the body composition tracker. So this is where you get to input your measurements, your body fat, your weight, and it basically graphs it for you and shows you your progress, which
and your
is
macros.
amazing. Yeah, and it displays your macros automatically for you.
So what you need to be eating on a daily basis and the
Right.
portions that you need to be eating will be in there.
But the point is, I just go, you know what, dude, give it. If they take it and they run with it and they get some great transformation out of it and they never come back, we change their life.
Yeah.
And they will say nothing but good stuff about us.
But you just might not have any underwear. And we have nothing to do with that.
Jesus.
So if you do that and you are missing underwear, we don't want to hear about it.
I just see that Buddy Jesus meme where he's just like pointing like, hey.
And in his backpack, your underpants.
Your underpants.
Phase 1, steal underpants. Phase 2, Phase 3,
Profit.
If you don't know what that's from, then you're way too young. All right. Well, that's the whole deal there, guys. Go get the All Access Pass if you don't have it. It's a 14-day free trial. Sign up at bodyspartan.com. There's absolutely no obligation. All this stuff's for free. And, dude, if you don't want to try any of those, you can just get started on Genesis, G2, Savage Shred, Forge, 5X, Revolution. I mean, there are some serious programs, and you can make some serious progress in 2 weeks. So that's on us. Go get it. Also, before we get back to the heart surgery, we have 2 brand new products that we just launched. One is the Apollo Neurotropic, and this is a focus formula, and this is something that's really new to the market. I mean, nootropics have been out for a while, but the bodybuilding and fitness application is something that's fairly new that we're looking at. And the reason that it's so effective is because we are usually seeking external forms of energy. So we're taking a bunch of pre-workouts that are stimulants. Nootropics provide energy on a cellular level. Beat that shit. So it also, not only do you get energy on a cellular level without the actual stims that are dangerous for your cardiac health, which is something for me, but you focus. It creates this intense mind-muscle connection. So you go to the gym, you're worried about all this other shit that goes on in your day, your finances, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your car payment, and you can't focus. It's the end of a long day, and you should be focusing on your workout, your reps, your sets. You should be focusing on the mind-muscle connection. You can't because your mind's wandering. And you're not going to hear
about this stuff when you go into GNC and ask what's hot. This is like it's not black market stuff, but this isn't stuff you're going to hear in the mainstream fitness arena. This information we got from high-level sources that know people who know people. I don't know if you've heard about smart drugs.
That know some people that rob some people.
Right. But these are cutting-edge tools for you because you are our family members, and we want to make sure that you have the best.
You remember that movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper back in the day, the smart pill?
Precisely.
It's pretty much that shit, but better. And you don't die when you take it.
Exactly. Yeah. Without the negative repercussions.
You can grab that. And then you can also get our IGF 300. So this is our IGF formula. No, it's not SARMs. A lot of people have been asking, is it SARMs? No, it's not. It's a formula that has been shown to raise blood testosterone levels. There was a study done in Alberta. It was the University of Alberta, where they basically did a pretty big study. They took a bunch of police officers and they gave them this IGF 300, the blend. And what they did is they measured testosterone levels before and afterwards. And the lead scientist basically went on record saying, at this point, it's hard to tell the difference if they are injecting or the difference between this and injectable testosterone. Like that's how much the blood serum levels changed. So this shit's amazing. Not only do you have testosterone levels raised, but IGF, which is the precursor to growth hormone, works better than growth hormone. It's in there. It's amazing. Either one of these supplements is available, and we're doing a launch sale. The code for $30 off both the IGF and the Apollo brain formula is new SUPS 30, and SUPS only has one P, so new SUPS and then the number 30. So that's what's going on. Bodyspartan.com. Let's get back and let's talk about the actual surgery. Let's get this because I really want to get to the end, to like the recovery, because guys, I'm recovering at a rate that they've never seen before. And I have a lot of tricks that I need to talk to you about that apply to everything in your life. This is going to apply to you in the gym. It's going to apply to your work, to your family life, to everything. And I got to get there. But let's talk about the surgery. Where do we start? I mean, do we start about like
the night before we went in? I went into a deep sleep and I dreamt that I was getting ready for execution day. And everybody was eating, and it was like the last meal. And I was sitting there realizing that these were my last few hours on earth. And when I woke up, I realized that is exactly how my husband was feeling.
Yeah, my parents had helped us out. They got us a hotel room. What was it like? It was the Good Night Inn in Redwood City, actually. So it's not like this fancy.
Lord Almighty, you think you have insurance and it's covered thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. Like this has been.
We had to change insurances because they wouldn't approve this.
And I'm just like putting this out there. Like you guys know we do well. Like this business is cranking. This has been the most painful financial blow of anything in our lives. And it's been over a series of 2 years, these ER visits, these medical bills, but this
the out-of-pocket deductible up front.
Oh my goodness sakes. And then switching insurances and paying it all over again. So this has been a surprise, a very humbling surprise financially. But his parents were, and his grandfather, oh my gosh, like everybody has really, really helped us and been incredibly supportive. But we went out to one last dinner the night before, and it felt like to Gabe.
Well, here's the way I looked at it. And Priscilla, you've asked me before, you're like, how are you not freaking out? Or how were you freaking out the night before? And I kept saying, no, I wasn't. And
we didn't talk about it at the time. And I'm like looking over. He was like so calm and just
super calm. And you asked me afterwards, you're like, were you scared? Like, and I said, the date kept creeping up, but I kept acting like it wasn't there yet. And I kept saying,
it's not today.
In my mind, yeah, it's not today. It's not happening right now. So I'm going to live today. And I'm going to live in the moment. And I start, you know what? I'm going to save what I did before for after the story
Perfect.
here. That way we don't give it away.
I will preface that the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to the surgery were the 2 or 3 weeks that were the best of our married life.
Absolutely.
The very best of our married life because of what Gabe began to do.
Let's not give it away.
We're not going to give it away, but a profound shift that made leading up to this scary and difficult time so joyful. The best of our married life, the best of our family life.
Easily. So as we get to the night before,
and I'd say the first week of recovery, same, blissful.
So we go out to dinner with my folks, and Mia's there. So my folks got a room. We got a room with Mia. You know, it's got 2 beds in it. And we go out to dinner, and then we go to the Cheesecake Factory. And in my head, I'm like, dude, this could be my last meal because I'm not allowed to eat, you know, after a certain time the night before for surgery. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating like this Godiva chocolate cheesecake, and I'm just sitting there savoring. I'm like,
eat all you can before the cutoff at midnight.
Parts of me were going, this could actually be my very last meal ever. And I'm looking at my family and my mom and my dad. I'm looking at you, P. I'm looking at Mia, and I'm super calm, but I'm just like, I'm soaking it in because I'm like, dude, this is strange. We got back to the hotel and it's time for me to shower. And I had to use this, it was chlorhexamine or something like that, like a special like antibacterial scrub.
With a special sponge and
all this
sit
stuff.
there for 5 minutes with it on. I had to do his back.
Yep.
And like he's preparing himself to die.
Yeah, pretty much. And I remember you said, you're like, you expect me to be freaking out.
I expected there to be emotional wobble at the very least. I expected you to be cranky. I expected you to be emotional. I expected you to be angry. I expected you to go through kind of like a mourning process because I know that even though I wasn't showing it on the outside, on the inside, I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to punch something. I wanted to laugh and embrace the moment. I was going through like stages of, it felt like I was losing someone, but on the outside I had to maintain a positive and high vibration and continue my spiritual practices so I could stay as strong as possible for my husband in what should have been the most difficult time of his life.
And was I falling apart?
Not even in the least. I have never seen power in a human being the way that I saw in my husband leading up to and recovering from this surgery. Never have I seen him stronger. And I know, you guys, he's lost 60 pounds. Okay, big whoop. He's never been more powerful to me. He's never been stronger. And he has inspired me and motivated me by what he's done to be this person who has succeeded in this way.
Oh, thank you. And interestingly enough, so I take my shower, I come out, and Priscilla and Mia are in the bed.
We all wanted to sleep in the same bed.
And then,
these beds are like so tiny because we were only going to have one night with Gabe in the room,
Yep.
and then it was just going to be me with a bed to myself.
but it was
Mia
late.
with-
It was like almost 10 o'clock, right? Maybe 10:30 by the time we all wound down and
and
everything.
we're like, get in bed between us.
So Mia's in between, and lights are off, and I'm just sitting there, and
Which we never let her sleep in our bed, you guys. Like,
Oh,
we're
yeah, we
like,
don't
That is
co-sleep.
Mia's bed. This is our bed.
Yep.
Like, there is a separation, and there's no like, okay, just tonight. Never. So us having a family bed was like a very precious, intimate moment.
yeah, and
And it's always like to
you
bed
know,
at 7.
She cuddled up
And
right
he's like-
next to me, and snuggled up right next to me, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, okay, I'm not tired. This could very well be my last night here on the planet.
And both of us are just sitting there with beady eyes, just like blinking at him.
Well,
like,
and
we love
I
you.
and I just go, you know what? I'm just going to turn on the laptop and watch a movie and get my mind off of this, because that was when my mind started to kind of like wander, and I'm I got to control this. I need to not think about it. So I'm going to turn a movie on.
And you
of
guys,
course, go ahead.
go ahead. Okay, so the mind is like a screensaver. Like the screensaver goes on, and you see the little fish go across the screensaver. That's when our mind goes to unhealthy places, and you got to shake that mouse and pound on that keyboard and stop that screensaver. It's like those automatic background noises that are like, oh, hey, you're probably going to die. Oh, hey, this is probably going to really hurt. Oh,
Yep.
hey, this is really terrifying. This is scary. That's the screensaver. You got to shake that mouse and remind the computer who is in charge.
Well, and my way of doing it was just kind of brain dumping. And so I turn on this movie on the laptop, and Mia looks up. She's like, Dad, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, it's Captain America. And she's never seen any of the Marvel movies. She's 7 going on 8. I'm like, they're a little too advanced for her. And she's just kind of like looking at the screen, trying to act like she's not watching. And I kind of look at her, and she looks at me, and I just take my earbud out and I hand it to her. She's like, oh, thanks, Dad. I'm like, okay, shh, let's be quiet so Mom doesn't know that you're watching this. But I knew you knew, and I'm just
I
like,
knew.
in my
and
mind.
normally I'm like, protect her precious mind
Yeah, and
from this garbage television.
In my mind, I'm just like, you know what? I like the Marvel movies. I like superheroes. I like action. I like sci-fi. And I want my daughter to understand the things I like. And if this is my last night on the planet, well, God damn it, we're going to watch Captain America, and I'm going to explain everything to her and why it's so fucking cool. So we watched until midnight, and she finally looks up. She's like, Dad, I'm tired. I have to go to sleep. I'm like, okay, babe. So
She's like so grown
I
up.
paused the
She's
movie
funny.
where we left off, and she turns over. Instantly, the girl's asleep, and my mind just starts wandering. And she goes, oh, let's get in the other bed so that we don't disturb Mom. So we went to the other bed. I tucked her in. I hopped in. So it was me and her in the bed, and I just ended up literally staring out the slider. There's a bunch of lights outside. I remember just staring out the slider going, what do I do? Do I sleep? Do I not sleep? Like, my possible last night on the planet. I'm going in a matter of hours. They're going to crack my chest open. They're going to break my ribs.
Do they crack it or do they saw it?
So the procedure is, incision. They use a bone saw to saw through the sternum, and then they use spreaders to literally pry your ribs open so that they can get to the heart. In this process, they slowly start making incisions in the heart, and they put you on full pulmonary bypass. So your lungs stop. You get put on breathing. No, you don't get put on a breathing machine. Yeah, your lungs stop. They
Deflate the lungs.
deflate, and as they slowly take all the arteries off your heart, you get put on full bypass. The blood is oxygenated so that your brain has what's called profusion. So your brain is still getting oxygen. They stop the heart. Your lungs are not working. So basically, your bodily
cool down
functions.
the body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. They cool down the body so that everything that's happening is very slow. You don't have any like major cellular death that happens in the process. But the idea is like your brain is functioning, but your normal body functions gone.
Yeah, when he came out of surgery, I saw him before he woke up, and his body was like so cold, and his face was white. It was crazy.
So all that to
Did you skip this
say,
guy out of the refrigerator?
I think I slept 2 hours that night, and I just contemplated everything. Like, did I do everything I wanted to do? And I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm like, I didn't. But if this is it, okay, whatever. And I wake up the next day. I had to take another shower. I do that scrub thing again.
It's
And
like you
next thing I
can't act
know-
like it's not happening. Like you have to prepare your body to die.
Mia's still sleeping. My dad and my mom knock on the door, and it's time to go. I'm like, okay, let's go. My dad stays with Mia because she needed to be there with Papa. So my mom and Priscilla and I drive over.
We decided not to leave her alone.
What
in
did
the
I put
hotel
on?
room.
I think I put on like the summer music mix in the car, and I just chilled out the whole way
we
over.
have like kind of an EDM kind of jam out list that we love to listen to. Just like chill lounge vibes.
And I still told myself, I'm like, it's not happening yet. I don't have to worry because I'm gonna enjoy this moment. I'm
This
gonna be
is what's happening
in the now, like not in the past, not in the future. Right here, right now. I'm gonna enjoy. And I remember looking at Priscilla and seeing her face, and listening to my mom talk, and listening to music. I'm all, dude,
and
life is good.
Gabe was driving. He
Yeah.
was the one that drove us, and he was totally calm as a cucumber.
Are cucumbers calm?
They don't move around. They don't stress out. They don't freak out that I know of.
They just ruin salads. That's what they do. They just ruin
People freak
salads.
out, yes.
Cucumbers.
Yeah.
The salad
Just say
destroyer.
no.
The destroyer of salads.
Yeah.
Cucumber.
You
Yeah,
don't taste
basically.
that.
Pickles. Who likes? I hate pickles. Like
Pickles
hey,
and
let's
cucumbers.
taste the worst. Let's take the worst tasting vegetable and let's put it in vinegar. That's a fucking pickle.
Like, whose idea was that?
I don't know. My mom loves pickles. Anyway, we get to the hospital. This is the best part too. This is so funny. So we get there, and before I know it, they're shuffling me in. I checked in. I was the first one in. They shuffle me in. They're like, "Here's your gown." I take off my clothes. I get in the gurney, and I'm sitting there, and I'm nervous. And the nurse comes over, and she's like, "Okay, well, blah blah blah. Okay, now so they might have to make some incisions in your groin area, so I'm gonna have to clip you." I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, girl. I took care of all that. That's how I roll." She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yep." She's like, "Unfortunately, I got to do your legs because I use the clippers on my legs and I bick everything else." And she's like, "Well, I do have to do the legs, and I kind of have to check it's my job." I'm like,
I'm here to like shave your everything.
like basically, she's like, "All right, well, let's lift it up and see." I'm like, "Oh, cool. This is the most humiliating thing in my life."
I'm too nervous to even enjoy this right now.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. So they clipped really, really closer than I usually do everything. And then we got the visit from every doctor that was going to be in there, every team member except Dr. Fishbein. He was prepping and everything. The anesthesiologist came in, and I got to talk to him. I said, "Look, dude, I don't want to remember anything. I don't want to remember being wheeled out of here if that's possible. I don't want to see the operating room." He's like, "Okay, look, dude, I can't promise you that you won't remember that." He's like, "I can give you some really good shit, and you probably won't remember getting wheeled down the hallway." And so for those of you that saw the compilation that Priscilla put together, basically when it was time to go.
This was on IG.
Yeah, it was on
IG
it was on
story.
IG, and it was time to go. I remember just looking at Priscilla. He's like, "You ready, man?" I'm like, "All right, dude." I'm like, "Hey, P, film this." And she's like, "Okay." And he starts giving me the cocktail, and she goes, "How do you feel?" And I go, "Whoa, I'm going." I'm like, she's like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel like I'm floating." I don't even think I finished the word floating. And here's what I remember. This is a pretty big epiphany here. I remember feeling the gurney hit the doors. There was double doors, and I'd seen when people were getting wheeled in and out that there was air conditioning and the wind would blow in really hard. I remember hearing the wind, and I remember it going whoosh, and then it was like slow motion. It went, and there was a millisecond of absolute nothingness. I'm talking the deepest sleep you've ever had, where you feel like you're getting pushed downwards. It feels good. But this didn't feel good. It was like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a second. Oh, you have the video right there.
Yeah, right.
Can you, is the sound on?
All right, are they going to give you the good stuff right now?
I can smell this saline or whatever it is. Oh, yep, I'm gone.
What do you mean?
Deuces, peeps. Stay on the other side.
Like
I didn't say I'm floating. I said deuces peeps, see on the other side.
Peeps.
So in my head, I must have like mumbled it or something after that.
Did you say? Well, let's see.
I'm trying to think of a really funny joke, but speech is getting slurred.
Mission accomplished. Bye, Gabe.
And that was it. I was out, huh? Oh, actually, I haven't seen. I'm getting all emotional. I haven't seen that. Wow.
I know.
That's a big flashback. So basically, it turned into slow motion. There was like a millisecond of like a half a millisecond. It was just pure nothingness, like the darkest, hardest push downwards. And then it is like slow mo. It was like zoom, blackness, and then it was like you started up a record, and there I am with like a tube coming out my throat. And I was in ICU, and it was crazy. I don't remember much. I couldn't really focus on anything or see anything. I remember seeing my parents next to me, but I couldn't really see them. I kind of feel their like outline.
Can I? We're being open and real.
Yeah,
honest.
totally hit
Okay.
it.
So
There was a lot in between that happened too.
I asked for divine messages, and I know that really tweaked your brain. You're like, where was nothing? Why did nothing happen? And I heard very, very distinctly, this is the experience that you asked for. You wanted there to be nothing. In fact, I asked if you wanted me to meet you ethereally. I said, I can go into a deep meditation. I can meet you there. We can talk on a ethereal level. Like I can meet you ethereally and like astral project. And you said, I will see you when the surgery is over. And you decided that there would be nothing in between. So you made that choice. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all. I have a lot of memory that I probably shouldn't have because I forced myself to remember, but I don't remember that. I do remember waking up in ICU and things slowly coming back to me. And here's the crazy part. For 2 days in ICU, I was looking out my bed and there's glass in front of me, and what I thought was a palm tree on the right. And then past the glass, there was sand and this beautiful blue tropical ocean out there the whole time. People are walking in and out. I'm like, oh, hey, guys. And I just see this palm tree and everything. And it was like out of a movie. About day 2, I'm staring out at what I thought was the ocean. And all of a sudden, I mean, within 5 seconds, it basically disappears. And I see the glass and I see the other beds on the other side, the other rooms. I'm like, oh, my God, there's no ocean there. I'm in ICU. Well, that was an experience.
And it's so interesting because in chapter 10 of this book that we both, I don't want to give away too much about what Gabe's about to talk about, but in chapter 10 of this book that we're like totally obsessed with, it said that patients heal 65% faster and need 40% less medicine when they're able to see a tree from their hospital room. But there's no tree views from the ICU, but yet he had his own tree and began this rapid healing recovery.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. We set some records. I was in and out of the ICU. I was ready to go in, was it 2 days? I was ready to get out of there in 2 days. But those 2 days, for me, they felt like an eternity. So I wake up.
Felt like a lot.
I have this massive incision down my chest. I can feel my heart. Remember at the beginning of this podcast, I said I can feel my chest thumping. And I'm grateful for my heartbeat, but I can feel this thump, 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 thump everywhere. I have 3 tubes coming out of my chest that's drainage. I got a catheter in, and every breath is like a knife in my back and in my chest. And I could not take a deep breath. And this is part of the recovery process. So over the next 2 days, they give you this device that you like breathe into, and it measures how well your breath is. And, you know, the average person can breathe up to like 5,000 milliliters, whatever. Well, I was down at like 750. And I had to cough all the shit up out of my lungs. And every cough was just the most intense pain I've ever had. The crazy part is they go, all right, you know, day 1, we need you to sit up and try to stand up. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Apparently, this surgery is for old people. And is that our daughter moving around that I'm hearing in the other room?
I'm pretty sure. Should we?
You want to go check on her? Sorry for the pause, guys. We think the kid might be up and running. Hang on. Get shredded. Lose body fat. With pros and elite athletes leading the way. Every program designed by a professional athlete with instructional videos, custom calculated nutrition and macros, supplement guides, weekly content including fitness tips from pro athletes, pro bodybuilders, motivational videos, standalone workouts, and recipes. All the tools you need to succeed in one all-access pass. All right, back at it. So yeah, that was our daughter wandering around the house. Just had to go pee. Anyway, the point is, this recovery was crazy. Like I'm on all these narcotics. I want me to stand up. I mean, we can go on for days about the intense.
And there's also
pain.
this persistent cough.
Yeah, well, I was saying the surgery is for old people. Apparently, so when you're young and you've got a lot of muscle mass like I do, it's way more painful because
I had to cut through the muscle. And
did it cut through the muscle? Like, I have way more chest tubes. My mom had one. I had three. One wrapped around in my back, and like it was just like I said, it was like a knife. It was crazy. So,
and the worst part was probably like the cough. Actually, I have it.
The cough was brutal.
Yeah.
that.
Oh wait,
it's like Zoolander.
Yeah, it was
the
like
black lung paw.
it was totally like the black.
It's the quietest cough ever. But I have to hold my chest every time I would cough. I mean, the process is amazing. When I think about what I went through, the process is incredible. And the fact that they wanted me standing the next day. And then I remember the first time I went for a walk, I had my own room. I made it. I sat up. It took me about 5 minutes to sit up and get my bearings. I walked out of the room, took about 15 old man steps to the left. I'm talking like the old shuffle because I'm pushing my, with the stand with like the IVs on it and everything, the EKG. Like I'm pushing that. I made about 15 steps and I was blown the fuck up. I'm like, I didn't realize that it would be rebuilding my entire cardiovascular system. Like I didn't realize that going in.
Check this out.
What is that?
This is you walking down the hall.
Just like, oh, dude, I got my red socks on, the hospital socks, the gown. And I thought it was just going to be pain.
Along.
I'd be dealing with pain. No, dude, it's like you can't walk.
Learning to breathe again.
Dude, it's insane. Like you sit up and okay, here's the kicker.
Nauseous.
Resting heart rate for
Passing
most
out.
people is like 60 beats per minute. You know, an athlete, a little bit less sometimes. Resting, laying in bed post-surgery because the heart's irritated and inflamed, 95.
Wait, inflamed.
Did I say inflamed?
Yeah, that's not a word.
It is now.
It is now. It was inflamed.
It was inflamed.
And if you have a problem with that, then you're just being inflamed.
Then you're just being ignorant.
You're ignorant. No, that's ignorant.
So many South Park references tonight.
Inflamed.
95 beats per minute was my resting heart rate in the hospital. Could you imagine? That's like, for most people, that's like doing a run. And I'm sitting there, my heart's going, I'm all, is that? And I can feel it through my whole fucking body. It's just insanity.
And
I stood up.
and I could see it like in your neck. They had all these tubes and wires like for days.
I had a line
And it
going
was,
down
like,
to my heart from the
pumping.
neck. Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy. And they had to pull that thing out while he was awake. The very last thing that they
There
did
were
was
two of them in there.
pulled these leads out of his neck that went all the way down to his heart. It was crazy.
It was after they pulled the chest tubes out, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
okay, the funniest thing that happened in the hospital is, there's a couple things. Like in ICU, I had the catheter in. I was on so many narcotics, they pulled the catheter out. That was not comfortable, by the way. That was probably one of the most uncomfortable things I ever had to go through. And then they're like, okay, dude, can you pee? I'm like, yeah. Oh. No, I got like a dribble. And I'm like, okay, just give me a second. And
I'm pee shy. He's like, I'm pee shy. And
so we kept trying. And so, the female nurse was the one who pulled, I don't remember who it was.
You're like, come on, give me a little pee-pee.
Yeah, literally, like another Zoolander reference, like just a little pee-pee, come on. So first, I get a female nurse that pulls it out. So she got to grab my thing and pull it out. I'm like, oh, this is really awkward. And like, whatever. So then the next night, the male nurse is there. The dude's super cool. His name was Patrick. Nice dude. And I can't pee. And my bladder's getting fuller and fuller and fuller because they just got me on an IV. And I got to it was like 700 milliliters in my bladder. And I'm just like, I can't pee, bro. He's like, okay, bro, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a straight catheter, which basically means they put one in that doesn't stay. It's just temporary. He goes, we're going to put it in. We're going to pull it right back. I'm like, all right, dude. I'm like, I'm really sorry, bro. I tried so hard. He's like, don't worry, dude. He's like, trust me, man. I do this on old people. Like, it's way worse. Like, just chill, bro. It'll be fine. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. So here's like a dude who got like grab my thing and like stick this fucking catheter in. And like, it is uncomfortable. Like, you don't hear a grown man say, ow. This is me going, ow, 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 ow. And then pee. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he's like, all right, dude, I got to pull it out. I'm like, oh, God. So then you got to pull the fucking thing out again. I'm like, okay. He's like, don't worry, dude. You'll be able to pee tomorrow. I'm like, okay, cool. So the next day, Jackie's on. Sweet Jackie with the glasses. Guess who can't pee? Or was it Jessie? I don't know. It was Jessie or one of the girls. Guess who can't pee the next day? Oh, yeah, that's me. Can't pee. And I'm trying, and they're like, we'll just give you some privacy. And they're like, do you want me to run some water? I'm like, yeah, please run some fucking water. Like, barely standing.
I'm just pee shy. I'm sure I'm just pee shy.
This thing to pee in. I'm like, I'm just going to pee in. And I'm like,
the catheter guy is like waiting around the corner.
No, it wasn't a catheter guy. It was either Jackie or Jesse. I think it might have been Jesse. Like, I had never
It was Jackie, your nurse.
The one with the glasses?
No, the other one.
No, Jesse was the one without the glasses. So it was Jesse.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. I got them mixed up.
Yeah. So I had to lay down humbly and let a random female in my most vulnerable time swab and clean my junk in the slit and then stick this line up me again. And it's one that stays in for days. That way it doesn't come out again. So that was great. That was really exciting. And then they decide when I get my own room, okay, well, it's time to come out. And I had basically, they said it was because of all the narcotics I was on. So I had to wean myself off all the painkillers. And they're like, okay, let's go.
Which he did so rapidly.
So I got to have a female take it out again. I'm like, okay, at this point, you just don't care. You're like, all right, everybody's seen my shit. I don't care. Just take this thing out. And then I hadn't gone poop since I got there. So they give me all these stool softeners, right? Like, you need to poop before you leave. Oh, okay. So no pooping. All of a sudden, I just ordered. They got rad food at Stanford. Like, you had some. Like, I ordered you that Tuscan kale salad a couple times. I'd order way more food so that Priscilla could eat. And nobody's around. Oh no, you were there. You were there. You were just outside or something. And I ordered pizza. I took one bite, and I just get this gurgle.
He's like, everybody out. I have to poop.
Let's straight, just like, oh my God, how fast can I push the call button? Because I got to go. So then I get humbled and I have to have two nurses help me sit on a fucking toilet. Like, because I can't stand up on my own. I can't sit down on my own. It's just not possible. So they have they hook me under each arm and they help me sit down.
They're like, we can bring in a special potty for you if you want.
Yeah, they call it
He's
a commode.
So tall, and for some reason, these toilets are so short.
It was like 4 inches off the ground.
Yeah, like, is this for like gnomes or something?
It was bad. And so they sit me on the toilet. I'm like, all right, I got this. And I can feel everything coming. And I'm just like, something feels weird. And I reach back and they had sat me on the toilet without like opening the gown in the back. So the entire gown is in the toilet water.
You're like, you guys had one job.
So I had to like move that out. And then, everything's working as it could be. 80 wipes later, I'm like trying not to like use my arms so I don't break my sternum.
At home we use dude wipes. Right?
Yeah, we have the dude wipes.
Dude wipes.
Oh no, I have the Tushy. I have that like little bidet thing. Dude, it's awesome.
Oh yeah. So
God, I love that thing.
That's right. So we're over the dude wipes. But there's clean holes in our home, And so he's like, Scylla, through the door. And I'm like, yes. I open the door just a little bit and he's like, I need a washcloth or something.
I need wipes, dude.
I need wipes. I need a washcloth. And so I went scouring the universe for like all the things.
Gave me a whole pack. There was these super thick like sanitary wipes. They're obviously not flushable. I'm like, I can't flush these. And the nurse is like, just put them in the trash. I'm like, what?
Demoralizing.
I'm like, what?
And they were so sweet about it. And he's like, I just can't even.
Well, and the worst part is it's not like it's a normal color poop. It's like this weird greenish black, like weird poop color. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Like, and also, can you change me now?
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, can I get a fresh gown?
It's just covered and soiled.
So like Priscilla, these two nurses, I'm like, you know what? This is me naked. Just go for it. Just whatever. And
like, I'm just gonna
somebody
sit
wipe
here.
my butt for me.
It's fine as long as my heart doesn't fall out. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just gonna allow to talk about the ultimate surrender, right?
Yeah. Well, and here's the big epiphany. We've told the funny parts. You get an idea of what it takes to go through the surgery, but here's the thing that you don't realize. When you're sitting there and I've got my family next to me, I'm in ICU and I'm looking at them in the eyes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking alive. I have never been more grateful to have breath, to have a heartbeat, to see the people that love you and that are there for you, that are part of your life. Like the things that you take for granted every single day. I guarantee those of you out there that have significant others, that have family, you don't think you take them for granted, but when you are laying post open heart surgery and you're awake and they are there for you and they're holding your hand and they're telling you everything's going to be okay, and you look them in the eyes, you realize exactly how grateful you are for everything. Nothing else fucking matters. Not the way you look, not the car you drive, not the house you live in, not the clothes you wear. You are so grateful for this person who's in your life, or these people that are in your life. It starts with gratefulness, and it changed my entire outlook. And that is what, I know we're deep into this podcast, but that is what I really need to talk about tonight, is gratefulness. And we've talked about it before, about how it changes the molecular vibration of your body. You know, molecules vibrate at certain frequencies. We stumbled across a doctor named Joe Dispenza. I plugged him a couple times because his stuff is just amazing. He wrote a book called You Are the Placebo.
I have avidly studied this man's work for 4 years, and it just became real, going through something where you weren't sure how you were going to come out on the other side, or if you were even going to make it through to the point where you could have a surgery. And we knew that we had to try something unconventional, something different, something where we're not just victims and just trusting whatever the doctors say. We had to take this into our own hands.
Oh, well, and his basic, the way Joe's story goes is he was in an accident. He was a cyclist in a race. He got, hit somehow by a car. A lady drug him under the car for like 100 feet. He broke all of his vertebrae in his back. He was never supposed to walk again. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to fucking heal myself by thinking about it. And I'm definitely paraphrasing. This is a short story. 9 weeks later, he gets up and walks out when he should have had 2 rods in his back. And he's never looked back. And he goes, well, why was I able to do that? Being a scientist, he went and started studying epigenetics. And there's like a very specific definition of epigenetics on that bottom left page there, I think, that is really hits home. Because I really want to make sure that we help you understand what epigenetics actually is. It's a fairly new field that's been around for a couple of years.
It's a representation of outside of what is genetically possible, outside of the genes that you were born with.
Yeah, I mean, it literally means above the gene, and it refers to the control of genes not from within the DNA itself, but from messages coming from outside the cell. In other words, from the environment. And there's a lot more detail that we can go into in that, but basically the way this works, Joe looks at things like, and I say Joe like I know him, but I don't know him. Dr. Dispenza.
Would like to know him.
He looked at the placebo effect basically, and there's we've talked about this on many podcasts before, but this is a whole new level. So now we're melding the guesswork behind placebo, and he's actually going in and finding real science behind it. And I've always told you guys, you can will your muscles to grow. You can visualize and make your muscles grow. There's studies that have shown that. But this is a whole nother level. And there is just example after example after example of people that believed they were getting drugs to cure certain diseases, ailments, cancers, and they had the same exact effect, sometimes more effective than the actual drug that was supposed to do the job. And Dr. Dispenza goes, well, why does that happen? And ultimately what he discovered is that the brain is this like cornucopia. It's the ultimate pharmaceutical company. It produces everything that you could possibly need from birth to however old you are now. You just have to figure out a way to release those chemicals and those hormones into your system. And that's what epigenetics is all about. Now, what he found is that there is an electromagnetic field in your heart, and there is also an electromagnetic field in your brain, and you measure it with an EKG and an EEG. And there is this thing called heart coherence. And that's basically when your heartbeat is, what's the term I'm looking for, P? It's in sync with your EEG. So your brain waves and the electromagnetic field of your heart and your brain are in sync. But your heart rate, if you monitor it, it can be kind of chaotic. Even though it's a sinus rhythm, it can still be kind of chaotic. When you have heart coherence, it's very predictable. It's very systematic. There's no chaos in the heartbeat whatsoever. The electromagnetic field of the heart matches the electromagnetic field of the brain. When that happens, amazing thing happens in the body. And this is where we get into studying that and
the creation of matter, the creation of physical reality. Everything is altered when there is heart and brain coherence.
I mean, we're getting down to the quantum level, and for this is going to get a little sciencey, and we're going to try to make it very understandable. The quantum level is basically when we go beyond Einstein's theory of relativity, we get into the very, very tiny small particles. I mean, those of you that saw Avengers Endgame and Ant-Man, you kind of understand a little bit about the quantum realm. The laws of physics don't apply. They have their own laws. But when we're talking about the quantum realm, there are infinite possibilities and infinite realities that exist. What happens is when you get into a certain state, so we have different states with our brainwaves. We've got beta, theta, delta, alpha, all these different states. Through certain types of meditation, let me back up. The placebo effect basically works because the brain believes that whatever you were given as a placebo was the real drug. The brain actually believes it's going to happen. So the outcome, you're already visualizing the outcome, and the brain cannot tell the difference. The mind cannot tell the difference. It's already visualized the outcome. You've already seen the outcome. And so the body goes, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And the body catches up to the brain. Now, likewise, you could have the nocebo effect, where somebody is told, hey, this drug might have these other side effects. And people get those side effects, even though they're given a sugar pill, which is mind-blowing as well.
Such as cancer patients waiting for radiation, how they'll have the effects of radiation even before they have the radiation.
Or
they'll start throwing
chemo.
up. Chemo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Throwing up in the waiting room, for example.
Before they've had their first treatment.
And it's actually really quite common.
Yeah, they get sick. But this goes back to me having the anxiety, me thinking that all this stuff was happening. And to kind of get to the point, basically, Dr. Dispenza created 2 meditations, and they are done in a very specific way so that it puts you in the correct brainwave state to turn off all the chaos that's going on and allow you to take time to visualize the outcome that you want. And so in my case, leading up to the surgery, I was at a point where I had nothing to lose. Like I'm like, dude, what do I got to lose? I'm going in for surgery. Can I shrink this aneurysm to the point where I don't need it? I've got 2.5 weeks to do it. So I got up every morning and I meditated for an hour every single morning. I did this and I visualized my aorta shrinking, and I visualized the outcome of being in the office and requesting a secondary scan and saying, before I go in, I want another scan and I want to see what this thing says. And I visualized the entire outcome of being there with Dr. Fishbein. I'm going, I don't understand it. This whole 9 yards.
And just to give you a better idea of heart and brain coherence is that certainty, the knowing what it is that you're desiring very specifically. So like Gabe said, he had this vision of him going back in and asking for another test. Now, heart coherence can be created by feeling the emotion and elation of being told that he is perfectly well. So it's creating the emotion. That's how to get heart coherence, and creating the exact idea of what you want in your mind, or the intention, that creates brain coherence. And so the two combined together create changes in physical reality and physical matter, including your physiology inside your body.
Yep. So when the mind can't tell the difference, like when you're living in that moment, so you're deep in this meditation, you're in this correct brainwave state, you're visualizing, you're feeling it, and I've told you guys this many times, feel like your muscles growing, visualize the quads, the cut in your quads. We talked about money manifestation. When I first wanted the Lamborghini, I would go and I'd visualize what it was like to sit in one, to smell one, to actually be behind the wheel. Same thing with your body. I was visualizing what it was like to actually live that experience of having the aortic aneurysm shrink and being told you actually don't need surgery. The emotion that followed, like the overwhelming, like I cried multiple times, like out of joy in these meditations. When we got down to the nuts and bolts, I asked for another scan. And they didn't do the CT scan because there wasn't time, but I could get an echo, and an echo wasn't super accurate.
And this was maybe a week
Yeah.
after he started this meditative practice.
Week and a half. And my cardiologist, my local one, the one that I'm not super happy with, calls me and is like, yeah, you said you need to talk to me. There's no change, the same leakage. All right, see you later. I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm having surgery. We'll get this. We get into surgery. Priscilla asks.
He's in the middle of surgery, and the nurse comes out, and she's giving us an update, which she did every 2 hours, which thank God, because you're wondering how this guy's doing. She comes over with her paper, and she's like, oh, everything's going really good. It's good. Like, this is very textbook, like his heart's on bypass, blah, blah, blah. And as she's talking, I look down, and I'm like, what is this 5.2? And she's like, oh, that's the size of the aortic aneurysm. I'm like, oh, no, it's 5.45.
So 52 millimeters and 54.5.
And I said, but wait a minute. It's smaller than it was a week and a half ago. And that's impossible. They said it's impossible to shrink an aortic aneurysm.
So basically, there was no explanation they could give for the discrepancy in the super accurate CT scan that I had and what they actually measured when they got in there.
I asked if they were sure. I said, are you sure it's 52? Are you positive?
So what I determined, even though I had to have the surgery, what I determined is that if I had more time, if I had the 9 weeks that Dr. Joe Dispenza had, or maybe longer, and I'd started this practice earlier, I truly believe that there is a high probability I could have reversed this. But also, post-surgery, continuing meditation, continuing positive thinking, visualizing the outcome, visualizing myself back on the motorcycle, back in the gym before anybody can believe I could do it, has been one of the driving forces behind me recovering so fast. Because at this point, so I'm 25 days out. I've been out of the hospital for 2.5 weeks now, right? 2 weeks, 2 full weeks. I went from getting home, being able to walk 8 steps up the stairs, sitting for 5 minutes on the landing, doing the other 8 steps, sitting for 5 minutes, getting to the bathroom upstairs. That took 10 minutes, and then sitting on the bed for 10 minutes afterwards because I can't catch my breath.
And then he had to sleep it off for an hour and a half.
Or longer sometimes.
Or longer, yeah.
Because my heart was just, it was freaking out, and I'm totally out of breath.
And this is totally normal. It's just his heart is relearning.
Yep. And what's taking people 3 months is taking me probably half the time. And it's because I've been meditating, been doing these meditations. I've been visualizing my outcome, what I want, getting into this deep meditative state, and literally taking, I would say half the meditation is being in the state where you are visualizing and feeling the emotions and seeing the outcome that you want, and just surrendering that to what is known as the quantum realm. Infinite possibilities.
And the healing is great. That's wonderful. But I just love who he became through it emotionally and spiritually, and how he treated Mia and I, and how it changed the dynamics in our family. Because starting when he started meditating, we had never been happier. Like, just the joy in our home, the happiness, the peace, the calmness. I loved our life in the middle of turmoil.
And here's what I think. I think the meditation helped me to sort out a lot of the things in my head that were going on. It eliminated the chaos. But one of the things that I realized coming up to the surgery is that, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of financial stuff that we were dealing with that was really heavy. I think the average person would have probably banged their head against the wall, like till it exploded.
Off the balcony.
Or literally, or basically just off themselves. It was a lot of fucking stress.
Like, you guys have no idea.
But somewhere in there, because I realized leading up to that I couldn't get stressed out because it raised my blood pressure. That was dangerous. And that there was nothing I could do to change the current situation. And that I say this a lot, guys. We have to learn to respond and not to react. React is an emotional state. We react to situations. So, we get a bill that we're not expecting. We react, oh, fuck, God damn it, where this money is not fair. Where am I, this goddamn blah, 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 blah. You get pissed off.
And then who do you blame? Find somebody to blame.
But what's the physical effect?
Get angry and fearful.
Your blood pressure rises.
Pressure elevated.
Heart rate elevates. And then
Anxiety.
it creates a different energy about you.
Anger.
So your EMF from your heart and your EMF from your brain change, and that affects, and we've talked about this before, and it's been proven that people around you can feel that. So that, you walk into a room and there's different energies and you can feel that shit. Like, when somebody's in a bad mood. You can feel it through the walls, like when we get in our little scuffles here and there, we used to, and like you go upstairs, I'd be downstairs, like still feel it. Like that's why you got to leave the house and walk away and get distance and let those energies separate. But
these electrical systems can be measured for miles.
50 miles. They stop measuring in some of the scientific experiments. They stop measuring at 50 miles because these very sensitive instruments were still picking up the electromagnetic fields of people's. It was the heart specifically. It was specifically the heart. Now, that being said, what I'm getting at is that it taught me to literally respond and not to react, and to look at the situation and literally live in the present, not in the future where if I don't pay this bill, then this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. It's like, okay, I have this. I'll deal with it. I just need to find a solution. But right now, I'm going to sit down and have dinner with my family, and I'm not going to worry about that. Or right now, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk with my family, and my daughter's going to ride her bike, and I'm going to enjoy that moment. And when I work, I'm going to do the best I can. And when things come up, I'm going to just look for solutions. And I learned to not become frustrated. This is one of the biggest turning points. Yes.
And owned by. There was such emotional freedom because you gained control of your emotional state entirely.
It was all about gratefulness. It was about being grateful for where I was and not allowing myself to react. So I would respond to situations going, okay.
I observe this. This is a thing.
I have payroll to make, and I have people who depend on me to pay them, to put food on their table, and I need to find a way. And if there is enough revenue coming in, I will find another way. I will rob a fucking bank, but I'll do it calmly.
With love and gratitude.
With love and gratitude. Guys, I'm going to need you to put all the money in the bag, please.
Please.
Yeah, this is actually a semi-automatic AR-15. I'm not going to really fire it, but just put the money in
But I
there.
might make this guy fire it at you.
All the liberals like, oh my God, triggered! Gun control! Just making a point.
Oh.
All I'm saying is responding is critical, and not allowing the stressors of everyday life to control you is critical in actually living. So many people, I'll back up, experiencing life, because the saying I'm trying to get to is so many people just go through and they live life, but they never really experience life. And we forget, it's so simple. You hear the stop and smell the flowers, stop and smell the roses. We forget that. And we forget to appreciate the people around us and appreciate the fact that we have a roof over our heads. And yeah, you know what? We might struggle to make the car payment and the credit card bills and the electrical bill. And we might not be where we want to be at the moment. But in that very moment, the same moment we're talking about, if you look around and you realize that you have breath in your lungs, you have air in your lungs, your heart is beating, you're in control. And you can be grateful for that moment.
And you have the choice to live in a high vibrational state every day of your life. You do not have to be in an unloving, unhappy state. That does not have to be your default. It might be what your body is used to, but you don't have to live there, and you are not stuck there. And it starts by deciding how you do want to live, deciding what vibrational state you do want to attach to. That's brain coherence. And then create heart coherence by imagining yourself as if that was already the situation. So things are difficult with your spouse. Imagine when you were at your happiest. Or imagine yourself happier than you've ever been. Imagine yourselves going on vacation together and making out on some rock in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. Imagine yourself dancing together, kissing, holding hands, looking in each other's eyes with tears because you're so grateful. And feel it. Feel it in every single fiber of your being, and know that that is what's real in the present moment. And your subconscious mind will not know the difference between what is perceived and what is really happening.
So here's what I want you guys to do. Here's the challenge for tonight. And I know you've made it through this very long podcast. This is probably the longest one we've ever done. I think
Whoa, is it?
I guarantee it is. I haven't even looked at the time, but I guarantee
wow.
This is probably 2+ hours.
We both got lost in the vortex.
Well, we did. It's an important story to tell.
Details.
People want to know, so we needed to tell the story. But this is the
Absolutely.
challenge I'm putting in front of you. And not everybody's going to sit around and meditate for an hour the way that if I had it my way, I would say go purchase Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, You Are the Placebo, and read the fucking thing front to back.
Can I say something? Just a moment of gratitude. Do you guys remember on our other podcast how Gabe was coughing, and blaming it on this, blaming it on that? It was his heart the whole time, and we didn't even know. You're not coughing like you were.
No, I still
It is
have.
like a beaut. You still
I still have some
are-
asthma. Well, some of it was from the beta blockers too that they had me on such a high dose.
But like all the things, like I am so grateful that you're not like gagging on the podcast.
and I don't
anymore.
I don't
So
have the
wonderful.
deep ache in my chest anymore that was causing me massive
so
anxiety.
wonderful.
That's gone. Oh, here, look, now I have to cough because he said something.
I know.
So if I had it my way, I would say, guys, go purchase, like order off Amazon, You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and read the fucking thing front to back, because that's what I did, and that changed my fucking life. Then,
But do the work.
like literally,
Do
I
the
haven't read a
things.
book since college. I usually do audiobooks or I usually watch video. I got tired of reading.
And like
I
stubborn,
read this.
annoying wife like puts book on counter every day and keeps strategically moving it and putting like doggy ears.
I read half of it in one night. It was that captivating because I was so
'Cause I'm
determined.
stubborn and-
I was just like, yo, I have 2 weeks to figure out a solution that is not. They say there is no solution. I got 2 weeks. I'm going to dive into this. And if I'm telling you guys that, this method can change your entire life, the way that you think, the way that you manifest, it works for your body. It works for manifesting money. It works for manifesting your future. It works for everything that you could possibly think of because the quantum realm has infinite possibilities. And all you have to do is decide on one and make it
Brain
real
coherence.
make it real in your mind.
Heart coherence.
Your body will not know the difference, and it's this whole
creates
law of
matter.
attraction.
Like, do you guys want to know? Do you guys want to know how he even got into this book? It's because I watched him spiral down so quickly because of the intensity of this situation. And I sat down in meditation and decided that he would read this book, decided he would do the meditations. And I sat there and I saw him with a book in his hands and I saw his life change. And then I watched it happen in my physical reality. This stuff is real and it works on every single level, emotional, spiritual, physical.
So buy the book, spend the $12, whatever it costs, buy the fucking book. Like, it's probably the best investment you're going to make your whole life. Read the fucking book. I want you guys to dedicate time to read the fucking book, an hour a night, no TV, none of the other shit that you guys watch. Game of Thrones is over. Stranger Things 3 has come and gone. If you haven't binged on it, it's too late.
Avengers will wait for you.
Endgame is here and gone. I know it's coming out on DVD, but it can fucking wait. Get this goddamn book and read the fucking thing. And now, once you've read it, Joe has 2 meditations. And guys, we are not affiliated with Dr. Joe Dispenza in any way, shape, or form. We get nothing from this. This is my experience that has changed my life. I'm giving to you. I don't get paid for this. I don't know the guy. I'd love to know the I'd love to know the guy. And I'd love to hear more about what he has to say and meet him in person. But this is what I did. There are 2 meditations he created, and I got them on Audible. And they are one's 47 minutes and one's 52 minutes long. Don't do them without reading the book, because the book explains why the meditation happens and the different phases of it. And it's important that you are up to speed on that so you know what to visualize, when to visualize, and what the outcome should be, how you should be feeling.
Otherwise, it's just going to be so annoying to you. It'll be
gonna
like
hear
a big joke.
The things that he says are very specific for a specific reason, because he's having your brain. He's basically taking you out of this crazy alpha state that you're in and into, I think it's a theta state, right? If I remember correctly.
I believe so, yes.
I'm off on the brainwave states, but the point is a chaotic brainwave state slowly bringing you into a very trance-like state where you could enter the quantum realm and literally experience what it is that you want to happen in your mind. And the mind will make that real. The body cannot tell the difference. Once it's an emotional attachment, like what I tell you guys about your why, the body can't tell the difference. So that is your challenge. And if you can't do that, then what I want you to do is I want you to sit down when you wake up in the morning, like get up, go grab your cup of coffee, sit down somewhere calm and quiet. And I want you to take 10 minutes and I want you to visualize the outcome that you are looking for, whether it's healing, whether it's you're going to break through this PR in the gym. You've wanted to bust through 225 pounds on your bench press or squat. You're going to hit 20 reps on, a curl exercise at a specific weight. whatever it is, I want you to visualize that. And I want you to get so deep in the moment that you actually live that experience in your mind. And you live it so vividly that you can feel everything. You can smell the smells that are there. You have the emotions. You know what it's like when you hit that 225, 315, whatever it might be on bench that you've been dying to do, and you rack that weight. What is the emotion that you feel? You get up like, fuck yeah. You fucking give the pound to to your buddies that are there. You high five, whatever. You're like, yeah, dude. You got it on video. You post it on Instagram. You post it on Snap. Your friend's like, yo, dude, great fucking job. And you just have this overwhelming feeling of accomplishment. That is what I want you to do. I want you to live that moment. And I want you to try that this week. And I want you to do it every day for a fucking week. It's 10 minutes of your life. You can set your alarm 10 minutes early and visualize what you want. Start there. If you can make it that whole week and you start feeling a difference, then go buy the book, then read the book, then do the hour meditations. And I promise you, your life is going to change.
And maybe it's an ailment, a physical ailment you're trying to heal. Maybe it's not a PR. Maybe it's anxiety or depression.
You know what I'm trying to do? I have this really big penis that drags on the ground. I'm trying to get it to shrink. That's my problem.
The nurses will tell you all about it.
Oh, he's totally lying.
That is the smallest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness sakes. Actually, if it is something like anxiety or depression that you are dealing with, or if you're having trouble sleeping, I created a beautiful encoded I call it hypnosis, kind of guided meditation that you can try. It's 15 minutes long. It'll change your whole entire freaking life. And it's kind of a gateway drug for meditation.
Where is it?
It's on my YouTube channel. So just Priscilla Tuft YouTube, just a little freebie that I did.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So jump on there and try that out, especially if you're in the middle of massive anxiety or if you're having trouble sleeping. It's like Valium and Ambien mixed together. I've actually never created a more powerful encoded guided meditation. I do a lot of personal guided meditations for people. They order them, but this is one that I wanted to put out to the universe because it's helped heal a lot of hearts.
Well, so that's basically it for tonight, guys. We've taken up enough of your time. I do want to let you know that we are going to be doing a rebuild series. We haven't been keeping up so much with me in the house right now, trying to get back on my feet. We've got a lot of footage of me in the hospital, me in ICU, some footage of me in the room, getting home, like some minor things here and there. I don't think that you need a month of that shit. What I think you need is like the quick summary in video format. And then when I pick up that first weight for the first time or hop back on the bike for the first time, that's when we're going to start filming on a daily basis. So the series is coming. You guys can see all this.
It's going to be a while. He is not
3
allowed
months.
to lift more than 10 pounds right now.
October 8th is when I can start, supposedly.
And that's very gently.
Yeah, I've got to
It might
ease
be
back
up
into
to
it.
6 months where you can actually lift up a weight that
But this is
weighs
good
as much as your child.
because as long as you guys have followed Body Spartan, I have been at the pinnacle of my physical career. You guys didn't know me when I was 182 pounds and surfing and this total skinny guy. You didn't know me in high school and all that shit I had to go through. So this is really good. It's me at ground zero, and it's going to be me proving to you guys, look, this can be done. Because for once, I'm not on that level where it looks like, oh, this dude's untouchable. He's so fucking massive. And, I look up to this guy because he's so fucking... It's me like, okay, hey, yo, I'm the average person right now. I'm average. Like, right, Pete? I'm pretty freaking average right now. I'm a lot smaller than I used to be. I'm 224, but I have more body fat than I've ever had. My muscles have atrophied, and I have to literally rebuild from the ground up. So this will be an awesome series for you guys to follow. I don't know what we're going to call it. Maybe the rebuild. I don't know. Something fun. We'll figure it out, but we'll have stuff for you guys to follow, so stay tuned. We're going to leave you with that tonight, guys. Don't forget, 14-day free trial of the All Access Pass. Every program we've ever created, 4 new programs every single year. You can get the Big Arm Bible, the Secrets of Weight Loss, the Six-Pack Mastery audiobook, and Ignite, the PDF download. 4 things that you can just download and keep on us, even if you don't stay on for the 14-day free trial. Full-on programs. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars of value that you can just take and run with it. And I'm not going to cry if you cancel afterwards. I want you to experience
new content
change.
coming constantly.
Like constantly, bro. Francine T-bowed me, bro. Go ahead, write in. Let me know where that was from. All right, guys, we're done for the night. We will see you next time.
For more free information on fitness, nutrition, and bodybuilding, visit us at www.bodyspartan.com.
Indestructible, undeniable. I'm a man with a plan, understand.